Okay. Everybody good? Great. Good morning,
underway.
everyone. My name is Gavin Dew. I'm the Conservative candidate in Kelowna Mission, and I'm joined here today by my fellow Conservative candidate, Christina Lowen, in Kelowna Centre. We're here today at Play Area, which is my family's newest business and the newest indoor playground in Kelowna. We opened this space in response to the growing number of young families in the Okanagan. And on that theme, today's announcement is about supporting working families with childcare choice and childcare affordability. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce our leader, the next Premier of British Columbia, John Rustad.
Thanks very much, Gavin, and thank you everybody for coming out here today. There's no question in my mind, childcare is a significant issue. It's a significant issue here in the Okanagan, but it's a significant issue right across this province. As more and more families look to how to address the childcare issue in BC, what we've seen here from David Eby has been, quite frankly, a failure. It's close now to 60% of parents say that they are struggling to find childcare in BC. 60% of parents. It's no wonder why 1 in 2 youth are thinking of leaving this province. It's one of the contributing factors. Certainly it's also a barrier to people wanting to be able to get into the workforce. What's happened with the Eby Trudeau Alliance, quite frankly, after 7 years, is that all we have to show for it is wait lists, not childcare itself. As part of this, we also need to recognize that childcare is predominantly a woman-led industry, and that the spaces that are, like I say, there's not enough spaces available. And this has been made, quite frankly, a crisis through the approaches that David Eby has taken in British Columbia. So it's time, quite frankly, to get a little common sense approach to getting back to childcare so that parents can stop being on waiting lists and actually start getting the services needed. When I think about what David Eby has done when he comes out and talks about $10 a day daycare in British Columbia, UBC researchers spent 6 months searching for low-income single moms with access to 10-day daycare spaces in British Columbia. And in total, after 6 months, they could only find 17 mums that were actually able to access $10 a day daycare. That's after 7 years of having that in place in British Columbia. I find that completely unacceptable. So our approach will be to maintain $10 a day daycare, but we're going to make sure that it is designed to be able to actually meet the needs across this province. It'll be designed to be able to be delivered by both within government as well as within the private sector, making sure that that access can be built out in BC. And it'll be targeted to families that need it the most. So we will expand a $10 a day daycare, and we'll end by ending the NDP's funding bias against independent schools or independent child providers, because we know that many of these child providers are experienced. They're more than capable of being able to deliver that everywhere across the province. And we'll expedite the access to $10 a day daycare for kids who need it the most. Because the big thing we need to be doing here is making sure that that is going to be available, and that's available for the parents that need it most. But that's not all we need to do when it comes to childcare. There are many other components that we need to be thinking about in childcare in order to be able to expand spaces in British Columbia and to make sure that families can find those services that they need. So we do have a commitment to increase the supply of childcare everywhere by identifying and fixing any of the unnecessary and unreasonable regulations and barriers that we have found. I remember a situation, for example, just up in Prince George where childcare operation just could not carry on because of the barriers that were put in place and the regulations. And I find that is wrong. These are people that are able to provide good services right across this province, whether it's in-home childcares, commercial spaces, or public buildings, even like schools or rec centres, to be able to make sure these spaces can be provided. We're also going to provide financial relief for all lower and middle income families. The Affordable Childcare Benefit and BC Family Benefit will be reviewed with an objective to increase it so that families have what they need to be able to look after their kids. Whether they prefer the childcare spaces outside of their house or at home with parents or with support from other family members, we want to make sure that we're there supporting all families to be able to have childcare spaces across the province. One of the things that we hear about the most from people that are working, that are in the workforce, I should say, that are looking for childcare, is often they have to work on shift. and many of the childcare spaces are not available in off hours. And so we're going to make sure that we also support 24-hour childcare spaces so that these workers will be able to find the spaces that are needed around the province. There's many schools that would like to also be able to offer childcare programs, so we'll also work with the school districts and various schools that are interested in being able to have these programs and services in place to be able to meet those needs. We're going to simplify the credentialing for professionals such as educators, social workers, and teachers who want to be able to move or want to be able to provide childcare, whether full-time or part-time in what they do. And that also means allowing educators to work as early child educated assistants during the summer months to make sure that we have the workforce that we need. Childcare is something that is critical in this province. We need to be able to get our economy going. We need to be able to bring common sense back into British Columbia. And the best way to do that is to make sure government steps up to the plate and supports childcare in the way that it's needed for people right across this province. And so with that, I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you. We're going to dial in. I just want to remind everyone that's on the call to press *1 if you want to join the queue. We'll be starting with Michelle with CTV. One question, one follow-up. Thank you.
Sure. Hi there. It's Michelle. Thank you for taking my question. Another 13-year-old first